G'day, guys. Welcome to episode 43 of Beyond the Finish Line podcast, the podcast for runners of every pace, every distance, and every goal, and coincidentally, is Australia's fastest growing running podcast. My name is Matt, aka Coach Matt. I'm a multiple-time Ironman and ultra-marathon runner, also the head coach and founder of the Performance Project. Joining me today, my fabulous co-host. She is a content creator, arguably one of the best content creators in the country. She hates when I say that, by the way. She is also a 5-time marathon runner and the fastest marathon runner on this podcast. She loves when I say that. Georgia,
Yes,
how are you, my darling?
I am well, thank you, Matt. And I do love it when you say that. It just gives me that little bit of a spark inside there. I'm like, I like being better at you at something, which is quite nice.
Yeah, well, you've got about December, January, February, 4 months.
That's okay. I can live with that 4 months of
Okay.
being the better host on this podcast.
Not host, definitely
marathon.
not host. Definitely not host.
No. As in the better host on this podcast at
The
marathon
fastest
running,
host.
the fastest. You know
Yeah,
what I meant.
okay.
Come
Yeah,
on. Let's not get into semantics here. How are you today, Matt?
Yeah, great. Just got back from the shoulder specialist and a swim, and first swim pain-free in 4 months. So great success.
It's all coming up Millhouse for you.
Coming up Millhouse, baby.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it looks like no shoulder surgery, which is good. We're
Oh.
kind of at that tipping point where if it went for another 1 or 2 weeks, we'd just have to pull the pin. But in the dark of night, it's come good.
I know last week you were saying you weren't sure what you were going to have. You're a little bit down about it. Now, look at you. Feeling
Yeah,
much better.
Honestly, 7 days ago, I was like, it's just a matter of time till the surgery. And then just came good. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me what I did, but it happened.
It's all doom and gloom. It's that cold, icy air from Cozzy that's just really helped.
But as much as I hate the cold, the first 2 days were so good. Like I went in, for anyone who doesn't know, went up to training camp at Mount Kosciuszko, running the Kosciuszko 100K in like 18 days. So I went up and checked out the course and whatnot, and we were running on snow, which was weird. Ran through a blizzard, which was weird. Ran through hail, which was painful. But yeah, it was good fun.
It's good fun. Like, I don't know. I was just like, I didn't realize it was actually going to be snowing. Is that normal for this time of year up
Yeah.
in Jindy?
Yeah, the weather's pretty unpredictable. Like it can be 40 degrees one day and then snow the next morning.
Yeah. Like, look, I've been going to Jindy my whole life, and I don't think I've really ever been there in the snow, which is weird. It always just never is snowing when I'm there. But I don't know why I thought that it wouldn't be snowing for the race. Are there any kind of contingency plans they put in place if it is like really snowing, or that's just it? You got to run through the snow.
Yeah, we just have a bunch of mandatory gear that we have to carry.
Okay.
So we've got to wear like face masks, like ski face masks to run in, merino gloves, fleeces, weatherproof jackets. So like, well, I think we end up carrying 6 or 7 kilos worth of gear during the race. But if it's snowing, you're pretty much wearing all that, even like waterproof pants, like things to keep you safe from the wind and the water, because there's river crossing, like, you know, the snowy river that runs through. Like, I went down to check that out, and it is legit like icebergs floating through that shit, and we've got to cross it, and it's like nearly waist deep.
Is that the little river that crosses through and there's all the brumbies?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God. Then you got to contend with those guys. They're scary.
Yeah. So that was, that's about 40 kilometers in. We've got to do a river crossing, and it is deep and flowing fast and it is freezing. So,
oh, shit.
Yeah, we just got to work that out, but it'll be fun.
Cool. Very good. Matt forgot to say, though, that on episode 43 today, what are we talking about today, Matt? Do you want to tell everyone at home?
You know what? Yeah, I'm not going to tell them. No, they can work it out. Bugger it.
Stay tuned, guys. No, do you know what? It is actually a great episode, and I'm excited to talk about this because I feel like this is something that is floating around a fair bit on social media at the moment. Something that Matt and I both deal with a lot of our athletes, and also myself on socials, people in my DMs asking all sorts of questions about this. So it is going to be a great episode, one that I think everyone will take something away from, which is really good. But before we get into that, Matt, highs and lows of the week. We know obviously you aren't getting shoulder surgery, so that's awesome. Is there anything else that you want to say high or low?
Low. Actually, it's not even really low. It's just a little hiccup. Strained my hamstring while I was at Cozzy, so didn't get to run the final day. But I mean, we're 24 hours removed and it's basically fully healed. So
Great.
yeah, it's just a little road bump. How about you, Georgia?
Look, this week has been really good. I finally kind of come to terms with the fact that I'm not doing this half marathon. So that was a bit of a weight off my shoulders. I spent the week swimming and I went on one run and been on the bike, which is great. I now realize I need to invest in a proper good bike because the one I had was just doing my head in. So that one's going on Marketplace. And yeah, I'm getting full into the cleats and all the different gear, and it's a wild sport.
I've got to stop short here. She's beating around the bush. Today's a very special day. So you're going to hear this on Wednesday, but today's actually Monday. And George is looking at me like a little bit like, I don't know what he's going to say.
I don't know.
Matt's gone rogue.
Yeah, honestly, every episode.
Today marks a significant victory. Georgia's day one of triathlon training. She's officially a triathlete today. We got her there. Yeah!
You win. You finally win, Matt. I'm very happy for you. Yes, you do. Today does mark day one of triathlon training, and I have looked at my program and I almost want to faint a little bit because it is a lot. But that's
She's
okay.
12 weeks out from a sprint try.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what? On the weekend, I did my bike ride and it was like, I don't know, 26 Ks or something. And I did find myself going, I could totally do a standard. I'm Delulu.
And then all of a sudden it's a 70.3. And then you know what? I'll just do the big dance.
Yeah, because, I thought that the bike ride was 40 kilometers for a sprint. And so I was like, okay, that's like a pretty decent ride. And obviously the swim is 750 and the run is 5. And I was like, I feel like I could do more than that. So we'll see.
Definitely can, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how we go, whether or not I feel good in training, especially with all these brick sessions that everyone keeps telling me, obviously, that I won't know anything until I've done a brick session. But I did find myself on the weekend going, maybe I should have done a standard. Maybe that was anyway, that's fine. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Mate, we can do more triathlons. We can do more.
We can. It's so much fun. It's nice to try something new. And I've been reflecting this week and just going, you know what? I'm in a new season. I'm in I'm just going to have fun. I've done my big goal. I don't need to put pressure on myself. So, yeah. But the other really big thing that happened this week was, the week just gone, was on Friday. I actually was the MC for an ASICS event, which was so cool. And I still can't believe that I got to do it. So they approached me and asked me to MC their everyday escape here in Sydney, which was awesome. So I had to get up and kind of do an acknowledgement of country. I had to welcome people. I had to run a warm up and then a run around the harbour. I was hosting the kind of run portion. And then I came back and I got to do an athlete panel with two incredible athletes. I had Natalie Van Couverden, who is an Australian triathlete who has just moved to the 70.3 distance and is absolutely smashing it. And then I also had Kennedy Charrington, who is an NRLW athlete for Parramatta Eels, which was super cool. So I got to chat to them and got to say, nailed it. So go me.
Would we expect any less, Georgia?
Oh, do you know what? I was like, I totally got this. I was so confident. I'm never confident like that. And I was like, it's just like talking on the podcast. But
yeah, I was literally, you took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, it's just, It was fine. The only thing that kind of threw me was obviously when I'm listening to myself talk through this, I've got headphones on. So it's a slightly different sound as opposed to like a mic on big speakers. And I was like, whoa, that took a second to get used to.
Yeah, the delay, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, that's a bit strange. But honestly, as soon as they gave me the mic to do the warm up, it was all on. I was like, this is it. This is my time to shine.
I'm at home. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's fun.
My mate asked me to MC a wedding in a few months and I was like, yep, no worries. And he was like, you're not nervous about public speaking? I'm like, no, it's just a podcast.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. And the guy, our really good mate who did the MCing for our wedding, born to do it, was so good at it. So, you either can do it or you can't. I feel like there's no point forcing it. So, yeah, that's my high. Lows, no real lows. I have had a great week. It was mine and Nick's first wedding anniversary, so we went to Oasis.
Oh, I got to ask you about this. What's the
Yeah.
deal with the cake? How do you keep the
Ah.
cake fresh for a year?
In the freezer.
Oh, you just freeze it.
Yeah, so
Oh, okay.
the
I thought
whole
there was some special way that they stored it.
No. So we've pretty much just saved like we got our venue to save us a quarter of the top of the cake to save, and you just freeze it, and then you have it on
That's
your
way
first.
less exciting than I thought it was going to be.
So then that day I just took it out of the freezer and let it defrost. It took like an hour to defrost. I chucked it in the fridge, and then we got home from our dinner and we hooked into some cake, and I've been eating wedding cake for breakfast the last couple of days.
You're fitting right into triathlete life, by the way.
Oh.
That's what we do.
It's you and your custard squares, vanilla slice.
Vanilla slice, yeah, boy.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's for
so
off
good.
season. That's not for training. That's off season.
So, yes, that's what we did. But, we went to Oasis, which was awesome.
Yeah, I saw that.
If anyone on this who's listening to this podcast went, you will know how awesome it was. But, it was really nice and nostalgic. So, I've had a great week. There's no lows, which is good.
We love that.
We love it. So, do you want to kick things off with this mystery topic, Matt?
Well, I actually think you kind of led into it. We had a perfect segue, but you kept talking.
Oh, sorry.
No, you were talking about.
But I can't remember what I said.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's out of context now. You were saying you've achieved this big goal. There's no pressure on you, and I was like, that's the perfect segue into today's topic, which is hustle culture, grind culture, sort of the dark side of endurance sports, if you will.
Yeah, well, there definitely is a dark side, and it is definitely not talked about enough, especially either in person or online. Every time I mention any kind of low with my training, a lot of people message me being like, thank you for being so honest and real. And I'm like, why would I not share this? I'm not going to, pretend.
Yeah, I find it so bizarre that, because I have the same thing, especially when I talk about my mental health with training. A lot of the boys will reach out and be like, feel the exact same way. And I'm like, if so many people reach out to me and say thank you, and same with you, obviously it is significantly more normal than what it is being portrayed. So why isn't normality being portrayed? Why is endurance sport being romanticized? What is being romanticized as this thing that everyone can just do?
It's definitely being romanticized. Like, the amount of things I see online of people being like, okay, this is the one that really irks me the most, is people being like, if you think you can hurt me, I run a marathon in zone 5 and their heart rate is like 198. And I'm like, don't say that's a great thing. You're literally telling people to run at their limit for an entire marathon and saying that's normal. That's not normal. That's scary. And this is where people are pushing themselves so much that they're then getting to the finish line and passing out, or they're having a heart attack, or they're getting rhabdo, or all these like crazy things. And it's almost being like shown online as that's normal and that's the normal side. And it freaks me out so much.
Yeah, I agree. And I think there is definitely, for someone who is big into pursuing the performance side of things, there is definitely a time and a place for pushing limits and where you need to sort of be unhealthy towards it. But that is still not the normal. Like, my level of obsession with trying to complete a sub 10-hour Ironman, that's the majority of the year. I am not like that. The majority of my life, I am not like that. It's for a very, very short window of time where I need to be unhealthily obsessed with a certain target. And then the rest of the time, I'm so far the opposite way. And it's the same with you. Like, you are not, when you're not training for your sub 4-hour marathon, you are not just locked in all in. You were just like, I'm just doing these other things. I've got to get these other parts of life organized. Like, it's just, we've touched on this idea in multiple different episodes, but I just don't know how it is going so wrong.
Yeah. Look, at the moment, I'm seeing a lot of, not so much, I don't see a lot of men on my socials. I think obviously because I interact with females and lots of women online, and there's nothing against men. I just don't get it in my algorithm.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of women being like, I'm doing 2, 3, 4 marathons a year, all of the massive influencers from America, the girls from Utah, all of these influencers who are being gifted bibs to every single world major every single year. And I'm like, you're really romanticizing that you don't need much to just go and do a marathon. And it's so scary that young people are getting brought up to go, okay, well, I can run. I'm just going to go do a marathon. And it's like you need to, like I am, say, with the triathlon, you almost have to respect the milestones that you have to hit along the way. And I do really believe that you should be, ticking off those milestones. Go do a 10K race. Go do a half marathon race and then work your way up to a marathon. Give yourself a year. Someone the other day asked me, how long did it take you to work up to the marathon? I've done a half, but I want to do a marathon early next year. And I was like, it took me a year. It took me a solid year to get from a half to a full. And I didn't get injured in that training block. It's when you start being like, I'm going to do 4 marathons. I'm going to do a half marathon every couple of weeks, like race wise. I'm doing high rocks. I'm doing trail running. I'm doing all of these things, which is great that you want to go do all these really cool things. But it's like, you're literally telling people online it's totally normal to just be doing stuff all the time. Heaps of races, heaps of goals. Like you're never sitting still, which freaks me out because I'm worried that people are going to burn out.
It's so tough when you are a newer person to the sport. And that's what like this podcast is really about, is like we speak to that beginner to intermediate runner we're not talking about the person who is 7 marathons deep and can roll out of bed and run 30 Ks on any given Sunday. Like this is a different conversation. There are people right now. I'm sort of in that window where I could probably run a marathon every single day this week if I had to, but that's because I've been training for 4 months to be at this level of fitness. But I've also done 4 years of training before that to be able to handle that volume.
Yeah.
The other part of what you just said, Georgia, is you went 10K, half marathon, eventually get to the full marathon. Like there is nothing wrong with, and this is something I encourage my athletes to do a lot of the performance projects. Like, hey, we're going to do 4 10K races. We're going to sit at this 10K limit for the next 3 months and until you're proficient at the 10K. Just because you have done a 10K or a half marathon does not mean you are proficient at the distance. So like have them go through that and then, okay, now you're ready to go up to the half marathon. We're going to spend the next 3 months going from 10K to 21K. And these are just arbitrary timelines, but based on their level of athlete, we're going to spend this time going from point A to point B. And then we're going to sit at point B for an extended period of time. And that's for your betterment as an athlete. So we're going to build that base. We're going to build that strength. We're going to build that understanding. So then when you're ready to go from the half marathon to the full marathon, you fully respect the amount of work, like you said, Georgia, respecting those milestones. So you know what it takes to go to that next level. And I do think people just get into this treadmill where they're like 5K, 10K, 21, 42, ultra, or I'm going to do multiple 42s. These people who are doing, I actually have an athlete at the moment who just did Sydney into Perth 6 weeks apart and now is just like completely burnt out. And she thought, this is going to be great. I'm going to, I'll get through it, no problem. Very headstrong athlete, very, very A-type personality, phenomenal human being, and just is now now I understand having gone through it. It's like no matter what I said to her, no matter how I spoke to her and tried to explain the lesson, sometimes you just got to go through it to understand it.
Yeah, and I think that it can look different for everyone, right? Some people, it might be that they've done 2 marathons back to back and then they're burnt out. But it can also look like people who, are training so much they're not taking rest days.
Absolutely.
They see a rest day as being lazy or not,
Weakness.
working hard. Yeah, weakness, not working hard enough. They're people who, if they get sick, they don't take, a week off to heal there. And look, I've been there. I've been there where I'm like, I can't stop. I can't take a week off. I'm going to ruin all my progress. But then you look at me now and I'm like, okay, I've had months off. I still run every now and again, but I'm not doing the same sorts of sessions. And I'm okay with that because I don't want to get to the point where I'm so injured that I'll never be able to run again. And so I think, as I said, it does look different for everyone. Some people become obsessed with as you said, the hustle culture of just go, 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 go. And you really need to find that balance where you're not doing it for other reasons other than for yourself, because that's where it starts to get a bit full on.
Yeah. And I think following on from what you just said, so many of these influencers, whether they understand it or not, and I guess we can only really comment on the influencers because they're the ones who are public, and we're not sort of putting those influencers down. It's just like we're just using that as a broader term.
Yeah.
Um, they're making hay while the sun shines. There's no doubt like running is super popular at the moment. Running, a triathlon, high rocks, all of these endurance sports are trending.
Yeah.
But pre-COVID, no one gave a fuck. No one gave a fuck about Ironman. No one gave a fuck about running. High rocks, like CrossFit was super popular and they had next to no running in it. I would be interested to see in a decade's time what these running influencers or endurance influencers are doing. Are they still in it for the love? Because like when I started doing triathlon, I didn't care about social media. I just started doing triathlon because I wanted to do triathlon. When you started running, like granted, you have now turned yours into some form of a business, but you did not go in with the intention of creating social media around it. It was something that developed over time. And I think the fact that you've gone into triathlon is sort of like proven that you are doing it for you, not for the content. But off topic. I will be interested to see where those athletes are who everyone is striving to be like, where they are in 10 years. Are they still running? Are they running and not making content? Are they running because they love it? Are they running because they want to? Or are they on to the next thing, is High Rocks 2.0 just around the corner and that's what they do now? It's like, I think a lot of people are hitching their wagons to horses who aren't going to be there.
I mean, very true. It is interesting to think about if, whether or not they do it for the love of it or not. But it's like in 5 years, are they still going to be doing it because they're so burnt out they actually can't do it anymore?
Yeah.
And that is also something to consider with you guys when you are, wanting to jump into that next race. I'm so guilty of it. I felt like I needed to do something because I couldn't sit still. So I signed up to the half marathon and I was like, I'm going to do it. It's great content. I can just prove that I can still run a half marathon and I'm going to do it quick. And then each week I was like, maybe I should try and beat my PB because other people are getting PBs. It is so easy to fall into that trap of being like comparison culture and seeing online everyone doing these amazing things. But you just need to take a step back and go, is this serving me? Am I doing it for me or am I doing it for strangers on the internet? And at the end of the day, I wasn't really doing it for me. At the start, I had initially signed up for me, but then in the end, I was pushing myself to do something that was hurting me. And I was like, I'm literally just doing it for randoms on the internet now. So you know what? I'm going to not do it.
Yeah. And following on from that, it comes back to like something I always say and ask all of my athletes is like, why do you want to do that? And if they can't tell me why, it's someone else's goal. I noticed every single time that you would talk about that half marathon, the answer would change or it would tweak slightly and the wording would change. And I was like, oh, she doesn't know. It's like, unless you are crystal clear, like I want to achieve X for Y reason, and it stays like that, like chances are like you don't really know why you're doing it. So I think it's really, really important that it is okay. And it is okay to be like, I want to be like Georgia. She did a sub 4-hour marathon. She inspired me to start running. My nod of respect to her for what she has done to me is to go out and run a sub 4-hour marathon. That is something completely different to just seeing 30 different random people run sub 4 on Instagram and be like, I'm going to run sub 4. And even though I'm a 7-hour marathon runner, it's like, they're just very, very different things.
Well, I'm going to run sub 4 because I feel like I have to.
Because if I don't, what's the point?
Yeah, or even like I'm going to even just take it back to like I'm going to run a marathon because I feel like I have to. And because I feel like that is what everyone's doing, so I'm going to do it. And you need to go, okay, do I actually need to do it? Am I doing it for me because it's a bucket list item, something I've always wanted to do? I'm pushing myself, or what is your why, like Matt just said? But just remember that you also don't actually have to do things, and no one's going to think differently of you if you don't do it. You know, there are
Yeah.
other things out there that are amazing achievements as well, or you could just be doing it for fun. Like that could also be a really great reason why. That's,
I think that's the best reason. Like
yeah.
if it's something that is purely enjoyable to you, it's like we talk about how hard training is all the time. Like if you're having fun while training, like it doesn't feel like training. Like getting up first thing in the morning to go for a run feels way easier than if you're like, oh my God, I have to do this. So if you're like, I
Mm.
can't wait to get up and run, like that's half the battle won. So yeah, I agree with you, Georgia, on that one.
I think some like even some tangible things that you guys can do to work out whether or not you are doing it for the love of it or if you're doing it because you feel like you have to, or that like hustle mentality, is just kind of like take an audit of your week. Like I did recently. I just was like, okay, how many days am I running? How many of those days am I actually enjoying my runs? So I was running 4 days a week, and one of those runs I was enjoying. And I was like, why am I doing this to myself? I clearly need a break. So that's where I went, okay, I'm going to step back and I'm going to jump into some swimming and some, cycling. And then that's where I've kind of fallen a little bit in love with trying something new and doing this whole triathlon thing. And so, just make sure you're looking at your week from a whole, as opposed to just being like, I've got to go and do all of these runs because I have to. And even if I hate them, it's totally fine. And I feel like, do you get athletes that are like that, Matt? Do you get people who are like, I've just got to go do it, even if I don't want to?
Yeah, and I would say that there's back to sort of what I said about sub 10. Like there is a time and a place for both. Like if you're a month out from a marathon and you've trained really really hard for a marathon and you're like, I'm not enjoying these runs. Tough luck, mate. Like you're training for this goal. Like you said
Yeah.
you wanted to do this goal. Get out there, get your shoes on, get to work. If it's just any random Sunday and you wake up and you're a little bit sore and a little bit like, what, I just really don't want to fucking run today. No worries. Go to the gym. Go for a walk. Go get a coffee. Go take the dog for a walk. Go take the bike for a spin. Go for a surf. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Yeah, but I do. This is where I'm guilty of hustle culture too. I'm guilty of grind culture. Like I love working hard. Like it is my favorite thing in the world. I love being able to do shit that other people can't do. And I'm guilty of going too far the opposite way as well. I'm guilty of like getting to that point of burnout and denying it. I'm guilty of chasing things that don't necessarily serve me because I think that they will provide some form of tangible benefit towards myself or my goals. I do think an element of it is healthy, and that might be controversial, but I do think like there is a point with certain goals, with certain targets, with certain whatever you're working towards, where the rubber hits the road, where you just got to be like, you know what, fuck it. Like I'm doing this regardless of what people say. And then there is a time where it's like, you just got to have, I think what you said, Georgia, with audit is very good. Like you need to audit those decisions, being like, is this a point where I just need to bite down and do it? Or is this a point where I need to really reevaluate, is this a smart decision?
Yeah, I think that comes back to like, what is your why though? Because like for you, that your sub 10, that's a strong why as to why you need to hustle, right? Because you're not going to achieve your sub 10 unless you hustle, unless you work your absolute ass off. You're not going to get there by just giving it a half-assed go.
Mm.
Same with my sub 4. I had to fucking hustle. And yes, for some people, sub 4 isn't fast. Yes, some people out there are doing, sub 3 or like they're Boston qualifying, and that's incredible. For them, that's really hard. For sub 4, that was for me, was really hard. And so I had to hustle. And that is when it's okay to be in that kind of hustle mentality, because I was working towards a goal. It was a 20-week block or 18 or whatever it was, week block of working hard. And then I didn't have to work hard after that because my why was completed. I did the bit that I wanted to do. And then after that, I could just relax a little bit. It's when you're like, my why is I want to get a sub 4. My why is also I want to get really good content and I want to be an influencer. My why is, my friends are all doing it, so I'm going to do it. And then you're back to back doing stuff all year because you're constantly chasing a new why. That's when you start to find yourself burning out and feeling really exhausted and hating running or swimming or whatever it is that you do. And yeah, that's what I found myself in. And I tell you what, guys, it's not enjoyable to not be able to kind of do what you love because you're burnt out. And I fear that that's what's going to happen to a lot of these people is everyone's going to burn out and everyone's going to get injured. Like more and more people are getting injured, which is another thing. Oh,
Hmm.
I could
Do
talk
you
about it for ages.
think do you think people jump from Y to Y to Y and call out race to race to race, goal to goal to goal, however you want to phrase it, because they don't spend enough time looking inside to decide what they really want to achieve?
Oh, deep. Probably. Like, surely there's like has to be another reason why they are constantly chasing something new.
Yeah. And then the follow up to that is how many of those people say, like, go, I'm going to run a sub 4 hour marathon, don't run a sub 4. And then the next race is like, I'm going to do, they just completely change it. So it's not like I'm going to go back and try and do sub 4 against, like, now I'm going to do high rocks in under an hour. And then maybe they don't do that or they do that, doesn't matter. And then the next one, it's like, I'm going to do a sprint try and then I'm going to do a half marathon. And then 2 years later, they come back and like, I'm going to do that sub 4 hour marathon again. And they're just doing like this constant, like, erratic, makes no sense. And we're using all that energy going from different events. Like, I feel like that is a strong form of burnout as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, their why obviously isn't strong enough either to be able to
Mm.
keep doing it. If you obviously don't get your goal and then you give it up, the why's not strong enough. You're
Not
just
saying
doing it
give
for
it
this.
up, just been like completely change focus. And then like, I'll come back to that
Oh, okay.
some point, like in 2 years' time. Like they go and do a whole bunch of other events, come back, and then like, oh, I still didn't get it.
Yeah, I guess it's just a form of someone not being able to sit still, right? They just have to be
Mm.
constantly doing something new, which I mean, that would just also just come back to the fact that we do live in a world where our attention spans are very, very like low.
Mm.
And, we are in a society now where you're flicking on social media and you're what, 3 to 5 seconds on every post, and then it's on to the next thing. And I think that is where we're going with endurance sports is people just want something new constantly because they're bored of one thing. And I do think that social media is the major cause of that, is because people just go, I'm going to try something new now. Just going to do something new. And then, okay, well, I didn't get that, but I'll just come back to that later and I'll go, as you said, go to a high rocks because that's what everyone's doing online. So, I do think that plays a very big part in burnout when you're constantly doing a million different things at once. And yeah, look, burnout looks different for everyone, but that could definitely be a major contributing factor.
Mm. I just, I find it so hard to, it's very easy to say social media is the enemy in this conversation. And I think it is, like, because just of how our world is at the moment. But also, would the amount of people be doing running if it wasn't for social media? With the amount of people who found, like, so, like, we talk about the dark side of endurance sport, we've also got to talk about the good side, right?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, you're talking to the biggest advocate for social
Exactly,
media.
yeah.
Like, I fucking love it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love it. It's given me so many incredible opportunities. I met you. We started a podcast. I'm now part of your business. I now have an incredible community of people. I would probably never have done a marathon if it wasn't for social media. Who knows?
Mm.
I don't know. I can't put that down to one thing. So, yeah, there definitely is a dark side to social media with, that hustle culture, but there's also the good side. And I hope that's what people get when they look at my channel, is that they see that, the reality and hey, like, I want you to go and do amazing things. I want you to go and have fun and try new things and do hard things. But also I want you to see that it is a lot. And there is a reason why less than 1% of the world do a marathon, and like less than whatever it is for an Ironman. Like, it's even less than that for an Ironman. And there's a reason why, because it's hard and we need to remember that. So, yes, there is obviously a good side to socials and there's also a dark side. So, it is worth talking about both.
Yeah, I mean, this this topic just like resonates with me. For like, I'm the person just going back and forth at the moment because, like, I sit on both sides of the fence and I
Yeah.
preach both sides of the fence, and I'm trying to think of articulate ways to let people know when to do what. And I'm not 100% sure I'm doing that effectively right now.
That's okay. I don't think anyone's taking this as gospel, as if to be like, oh, Matt said social media sucks and is like ruining everyone. I think we are just trying to educate you guys who are listening just to be wary of a few things when you are thinking of signing up to your next race. Like, especially like, okay, here's a really good example is I have seen so many people online post Sydney Marathon entries. I saw a lot of people say, ha ha ha, I signed up for fun and then I got in. Holy shit, now I have to do a marathon. And I'm like, what do you mean you signed up for fun? Like, yes, obviously there's an element of I'm going to sign up and I'm not sure if I'm going to get in, but either way, I'm ready. I'm ready to do a marathon, right? But a lot of people were like, I signed up just for shits and gigs. And then I was like, oh, fuck. Now I have to run a marathon and the most I can do is 10Ks. That's what scares me. And I want to make sure that people are wary of those things before they sign up to all of these big races and they're wary of the negative sides of some things because, I mean, I don't think it's healthy to not know those things. So I don't think anyone's going to take this as gospel to be like, you know, be on the finish line, hate social media.
Clip that. Clip that up.
We love social media. But yeah, like what are some things that you see in some of your athletes when you realize that maybe they're burning out or there's too much hustle happening? Is there things that you see within your athletes? Maybe people will hear that and go, oh, actually, that's me.
The biggest one is, and I've seen this, I want to say at least 20 athletes this year, despite being very, very vocal about my thoughts about this.
Oh,
It is
here we go.
it is the back-to-back events, and not just like going, oh, I'm going to do a 10K and then another 10K, like, and then they're just doing it for fun. It is I'm running Sydney in this time, and then I'm doing a half marathon this isn't you, Georgia, by the way. I'm doing a half marathon 2 weeks later, or I am doing a marathon 6 weeks later, and I'm going to PB that as well. And it's like, you're putting so much pressure on yourself. You're like, people just forget like how big of an ordeal a marathon is. And then they just, because everyone else is just ticking through it, they're like, well, I can do that. And then I can get straight back into training on Monday. And I'm just like, social media has almost made you delusional in terms of what you're capable of. And it's not that you won't eventually be capable of it. It's just like where you are right now is not where you think it is. And there's this weird disconnect between body and mind where they just think, if I believe it, I can do it. And it's just not always reality. And
Yeah,
I'd say that, yeah, go for it.
No, I was just going to say, I think that whole like, I'm Delulu, oh well, like, let's go do it. That is such a big thing. And that's the biggest thing I see in our group chat is people being like, don't tell Matt I'm doing Gold Coast and Sydney. I'm doing like marathons 6 weeks apart. And I'm like, well, yeah, don't tell Matt that because he will not be happy. And you come from a place of love when you say to people like, please don't do this because,
yeah,
you know.
It's like, my big one is like, I want athletes to be successful. Like that's my whole business is like, I want you on race day to have your absolute best performance. And I'm just like, do you see Kipchoge getting on the start line of fucking Gold Coast and then doing Sydney 6 weeks later and expecting to like go out and win both of them? Like he doesn't do that. He has 6 months in between races. Why do you think he has 6 months in between races? Because he wants to do his best performance. What are the chances that the best marathon runner in the world doesn't do that, but you can fucking do that? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. When, like, I have no issue athletes running back-to-back races, but to say I'm going to PB both of them, or I'm going to run a sub 4 and then a sub 350 or whatever the time is, like, you just I don't know where people get it in their heads that they can do it, and it's like they run their first marathon and they're like, yep, 6 weeks later I'll beat that. I'm like, you're going to be lucky to be walking in 6 weeks. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I think the key word in that is trying to PB both of them because obviously like Kipchoge just did Sydney and then he also did New York. He definitely does do races very close together, but seasoned professional athlete, let's not forget that.
My point was like Kipchoge didn't even place in Sydney.
Yeah, like he's not trying to win both, right?
Yeah,
he knows what he's capable of and he's not pushing himself to the point where he is then ruining his career. And so it definitely, I do see a lot of people, and I get it in my comments a lot, being like, hey, babe, like, I can run a half marathon and, like I want to go and do a sub 4 for my first marathon. And my answer is always, and I'm telling you now, every single time I say to them, I say, I love that for you, but your first marathon should always be about finishing. It should never be about a time.
Yeah, agreed.
Yes, for sure. If you want to try and aim for some sort of within a certain time frame, amazing. If that's what you want to do, because if your pace is a 6-minute pace, great. You're like, okay, I should land around here. And that was with my first one. My first one was like, okay, around that 5-hour mark should be about where I'm at with the paces I was running. I was realistic. And then I was a little bit delulu, and I went, I'm going to do a sub 4. And what did that get me? I didn't get my sub 4 because I wasn't ready for it. And there's nothing wrong. Like, if people just get so caught up in these times, like, why, as we've always said on this podcast, why is sub 4 the benchmark? Why is sub 4 the time you want to do for your first ever marathon ever? Your first time running 42.2. Why is sub 4 hours the time? Fair call, fair play. If your average pace is 5-minute pace and you're like, the sub 4 would be amazing because that's well beyond, my time, and I can definitely do that. But if you're just like randomly picking a number, I'm with you on that. I don't understand it at all, and it worries me a lot.
Yeah, the whole time / performance metrics that people put on themselves with no idea of how the whole system works.
Yeah.
Like, they go, yeah, I'll run like the amount of athletes who come to me and go, I want to run sub 4. I'm like, cool. Why do you want to run sub 4 is the time in marathon. Like, if you are a beginner marathon runner, they all say sub 4.
Yeah.
Very, very rarely do they say, I just want to finish. And I'm like, cool. How long does it take you to run a 10K? And they're like, 2 hours. And I'm like, okay. Like, we've got, like, do you not understand how math works?
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
And it's just like, yes, there is a level of delusion. I do think a level of delusion in certain athletes is healthy. Like, the athlete who says, I'm going to go out and break the world record, or Kipchoge when he says, I'm going to go out and break 2, or insert whatever, Roger Bannister who broke the 4-minute mile. Like, everyone thought they were crazy until they did it. So, like, there is a level of delusion where it is healthy. Again, with hustle culture, there is elements of it that are healthy.
Yeah.
But then there also needs to be like a fucking big dose of reality as well, where it's just like, you've been running for 6 months, like, you're not going to go out and run sub 3. It's just not going to happen. Like, unless you were just genetically blessed.
Yeah. I think, look, to just kind of round things off a little bit, I think take a look at your week, do an audit of what it is that you're doing. Ask yourself your why. Why are you doing this? Why do you need to do a sub 4? And just make sure you're really noticing what you're seeing online. Make a note of all the times you see someone saying these like outrageous goals. And it's like, is this serving me, or am I just doing it to fit in with the crowd? Because we want you guys to be able to run forever and to enjoy running as long as you shall live, that you get to be in your 60s and running and doing these amazing things. We don't want you to get to, I don't know, 30, 40, 50, whatever. And you're like, I can't run anymore because I absolutely burnt myself out when I was 25 and now I'm fucked, So just be wary of the signs of burnout. Be wary of the signs of hustling too hard and just all around being a little bit too delulu.
Yeah. I think something I'm really trying to implement with my athletes at the moment, especially like no one's really got a race on a calendar at this time of the year outside of like triathletes. It's just them being comfortable and enjoying training with nothing on the calendar. And that's like, it's a weird thing that a lot of athletes are going through, where they're just like, oh, there's no race, so why should I train? I'm like, do you really love running? Like, do you really want to be an endurance athlete? Is that like what you actually want to do? Because you should enjoy the training and knowing that you're getting better more than the race. Like, the race is, we've spoke about this before, the race is just the end of the outcome. Like, you got to enjoy the journey. So for me, like, base building and like this time when nothing's on the calendar is the most enjoyable time, because I'm like, I can just get better with no pressure. Like all I got to do is just train. Like so fun. And
Yeah, just have fun.
So I would really, if you're one of those athletes who are like, I don't have something on the calendar or I always need something on the calendar, I'd have a real like internal look and be like, do you love running or do you love racing? Because they're like, if you just love racing, there's a reason professional athletes only have like a 10-year career, because like they are done at the end of it. Like they don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So if you want to, you got to ask yourself if you love racing or love running.
Yeah. Look, just take an audit of your life and just go, why, and then go from there. And if you want to keep still hustling after that, like power to you, but at least you've done the internal work to work out why.
Yeah, be honest with why you're doing it.
Yeah, be honest. Just Anyway, we could talk about this for ages, Matt. There's so many other facets to this story.
We had so many talking points, but we just started ranting. So I feel like we covered a little bit of everything.
That's all right. Let's get into some listener questions, though. So I have a question here from Charlotte that says, cross-training like cycling and swimming, how does this build in and see results with my running? So how does this help my running?
Yeah, I mean, it's all just aerobic training. It's all fitness. Like there's a reason that triathlon is swim, bike, and run. All three complement each other. Swim fitness complements bike fitness complements run fitness complements all three. So yeah, it's just the same with ellipticals, same with stair climbers, same with hiking, rucking. Anything aerobic is going to benefit other aerobic sports, basically.
So I guess realistically, you could swap out one of your aerobic runs for an elliptical or a swim. If someone was wanting, like if someone was wanting to add some of those into their weekly kind of schedule, say if you are predominantly a runner, where would you be slotting those ones in?
Yeah, so the first thing I would assess is like, what are you trying to achieve, right? So if we're in a base building block and maybe you want to like improve your 5K, so you've got some like critical threshold sessions during the week, we're not subbing them out. I would probably, if you have a coach, I would talk to your coach and be like, cool, like what are the sort of optional or we prioritize our sessions, the performance projects. We have P1, P2, P3, P1 high priority, P3 low priority. I'd be subbing those P3 sessions out and just switching them out. So if you had a 1 hour easy run, 90-minute, 2 hour easy bike, or a 2K swim, if generally speaking, aerobic for aerobic. And then if you were gonna start switching out threshold sessions, tempo sessions, etc., it really depends on what you're trying to achieve in that particular training block. But I'd probably, intensity doesn't switch out as cleanly as aerobic.
Okay. I think that's pretty helpful. And, someone or even like someone like me who's just doing a little bit of everything at the moment. Well, straight into triathlon training now. But before this, I was just switching out my Monday easy run for a pool session. And then on Sundays, I was doing a bike, or midweek, I'd kind of swap one of them out because I didn't have a goal. So it was fine to swap them out. So yeah. Okay. Question here from Sasha. She said, please talk about shift work and running. It's so hard to balance training and work. Hello, night shift, which obviously I can imagine would be very difficult. So Matt, I guess maybe we can help Sasha out with how she can fit in her running with shift work. So if you had an athlete come to you and they are a nurse or whatever it is that they do on shift work, how would you help them slot in their training around their work?
Yeah, so actually we work with a lot of shift workers, a lot of miners, fly in, fly out guys, nurses, firefighters, the whole deal.
Yeah.
Shout out Ryan. He'll love that.
Ryan loves the podcast.
He'll be probably listening to this the 7th time this week. We love you, Ryan. So shift work is really like, you got to get that rostered down. You got to get it organized. So knowing what days they have off, what days are the turnaround days, so they go from day shift to night shift. How many night shifts are they doing? Is it 2 in a cycle? Are they all night shift? And then starting to piece those sessions around. So realistically, I try not, if it's possible. So like a lot of nurses or firefighters, for example, they might do 2 night shifts. I will try not to. I'll try to have them train the day of their turnover day. I'll try and have them not train after night shift, and then I'll give them a day off after their night shift cycle finishes. And then when they're on their days off, we try and get as much training in there as possible. If you're one of those people, I don't even know if they really do this anymore, they only work night shift, like they work just nights. I don't think, I haven't come across someone who works 100% night shift.
No, it's usually like week on, week off, right?
Yeah. 100% night shift would be really difficult, but you're kind of a bat now, so you just got to train like Batman. Yeah, realistically, it's those changeover days. So the day, or for fly out guys, the travel day or the day that you transition from day shift to night shift, try to train that day. Try not to train on the night shift days, prioritizing rest and recovery. And then if you feel capable that first day off, train. Most people are pretty mentally wiped. So I would say either something very, very light aerobic work or just focus on sleep. And then those 3, 4, 5 days where you don't have night shift, like that's where we really want to get some quality work in.
Okay. I feel like that's a super helpful answer, but again, I don't do night shift or like shift work, so it is really hard to know whether.
And shift work's so varied. Like you talk to some people, they do shift work and it's 1 night shift. Some people it's 4. Like that again. That is, and just as always, guys, my advice is speaking in generalities. It is not like the gospel. I try and I do get a lot of people messaging me saying you said this. And then, but that does not apply to me. And I'm like, well, I was not directly speaking to you. I was speaking to the thousands of people listening to this podcast every week.
Yes, guys, as much as we love giving you guys advice and stuff, but please, like, not take it with a grain of salt because that's the wrong term. But, please be just wary that this is like we're trying to cast the net wide here. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, we have a question from Katie and she has asked, what are the top 5 strength training things that I should be doing every week in the gym to help complement my running?
Top 5? Bloody hell, that's a lot.
Maybe you're doing 2 leg sessions or, maybe, I don't know. I could think of 5.
Yeah, it's like the top 5 though. Like
well, okay, give us your favorite 5. Speaking of specifics over here.
Yeah.
You said top 5.
I would encourage people not to train like an upper lower body split. I would encourage people to train like a full body split multiple times per week. I would always base one day around one compound movement. So like a squat day, a deadlift day, a bench press or an overhead press day. I would always include single leg movements. So Bulgarian split squats or like things with rotation in them, single leg rotations. What else? Always core work or posture work to finish sessions off. So as runners, we want to stand tall, chest out, shoulders back. That's very core driven. And then don't skip your accessories, hip flexors, calves, mobility. That would be my main 5.
Your main ones? Mine always starts with, sorry, I'm going to jump back really quickly.
Go for it.
When you say pick one core thing, so whether that's squats or deadlifts, could you do, say, squats on one day and overhead press or bench press, and then on the other day you're doing kind of deadlifts and then a bench press or an overhead press, and then you're kind of picking a main exercise from each main category, and then that way you get the full body workout, or is it a bit more specific than that?
So the way I tend to write programs for the performance project is like we'll have a squat day, we'll have a deadlift day, and then we'll have a press day. That can be the bench press or overhead, depending on what the athlete's trying to achieve. Girls, we tend to do overhead press. Guys, we tend to do bench press just for the way like the body is put together. And then the accessory work. So like say squat day. Squat day is obviously leg posterior chain focus. All the accessory work then would sort of fill in the rest of the body. So whether that's back, shoulders, arms, and then on the bench press day, that is obviously more, I guess, bench press day, chest, shoulders, a little bit of back. Then we do accessory work with legs, calves, core, etc. So that's kind of how we would piece it together. If you wanted to do 2 stronger movements, let's say a squat and a bench press on the same day, absolutely could. I would just tweak then the accessory movements to be a little bit less, so you didn't have such a big central nervous system tax.
Okay. Cool. Well, I mean, a couple of things that I'm doing at the moment, lots of people ask me what my sessions look like, or people ask me to film my sessions, and I'm like, I'm not knowledgeable enough in this space. Please don't ask me. But the things that Matt and my physio have been kind of programming me is I always start with like 15 minutes of kind of banded activations. So that might be crab walks with a band around my ankles. I do like fire hydrants, abductors, kickbacks, that kind of stuff, just to kind of get my legs all warmed up. Then I'll also do some hip flexor stuff that my physio has programmed me. So that's kind of sitting in an L shape on the floor, and then I'm lifting one leg up as if I'm putting it up and over a water bottle and putting it back. So I do those, and then I do some kind of like rotational stuff. What's the one called, Matt, where you used to program it for me? You kind of go down as if you're doing an RDL, but then you like reach up. Do you know what I'm talking
Hip
about?
aeroplanes?
Yeah, those. They're really good. Look that up, guys. Look up what a hip aeroplane is and learn to get really good at those. They are so good. My physio loves when I do those. Really good for like runners. So I do that, and then I get into, like Matt said, I'll do squats, I'll do Bulgarians, RDLs, heaps of stuff like that. I do a lot of single leg stuff at the moment because I'm quite weak in my glutes and my hips. So just really trying to focus on strengthening that. And I never miss kind of calf raises, abductors, that kind of stuff. That's stuff I never want to miss. And then I always finish with a bit of a core workout just to, as Matt said, keep things nice and strong. I don't do enough upper body, but I will do that now that I've heard Matt say that. Although, Matt, you haven't really I haven't asked you to program my strength in a while, and Matt used to always program the overhead press, which is always hard.
Yeah. A good hack for, I guess a lot of runners don't do a lot of upper body movement.
Yeah.
I always think about it as, what are the movements that are going to help me stand tall, chest out, shoulders back, opening up the lungs? So if you think about overhead press, like when you're in that fully locked out position, chest out, shoulders back, like that is the position. So if you're not really sure, just be thinking about lat movements. So if you think about drawing like a row, pulling your shoulders back, like just be thinking about movements that are going to get you in an advantageous position for running. So if you don't have to be there doing bicep curls or tricep extensions, although you should, just to help with all around health. Think about movements that get you in that chest out, shoulders back position.
Yes. Yeah, like that's a really good point, is that you could really just think about, okay, what's the movement I do when I'm running, and let's like work on strengthening those exact movements. So that's always super helpful. But yeah, that's all our questions we have for today. Try and keep them a little bit short and sweet. So thank you so much for listening, guys. This has been episode 43 of Beyond the Finish Line. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at beyondthefinishline_pod. Head over to YouTube or Spotify or iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you like, subscribe, download, do all the things. Share us with your friends. That's always super helpful, and we love you so much for it. And don't forget to tag us on Instagram as well. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful week.
Hooroo.
Bye.